You know, one thing too, I think that really distinguishes a gospel viewpoint around sexuality and the world's viewpoint is narcissism. Very often in the world, sexuality is discussed and portrayed in a very narcissistic, self-serving way. And I think it is so critical in today's world to emphasize that our sexuality, of course it is an important part of ourselves, but it is intended to be used and enjoyed within a marital relationship and not in a selfish way. And too often we're preparing young people or not teaching them, and they are on a track where it's very selfish and self-serving. And that, to me, is one of the great threats of pornography, is it conditions people to be almost calloused towards another person's feelings or needs or wants, and they think only of themselves. And so part of that teaching and training of our young people is to understand that this isn't just all about you. Part of your sexual development will be learning how to respect and understand other people, and hopefully in preparation for a spouse one day, that you will be able to be the kind of partner that's trustworthy, open, honest, respectful, kind, tender towards someone else's feelings. Because I really see that hardening of hearts and self-serving attitude has become a big part of sexuality.
Excellent. Ben, a good way to teach that, and particularly as kids get older and they approach marriage, and we're able to have these direct and preparing type conversations and relationships, is often to teach about the arousal systems of the body, and to appreciate that the sexual response of the body is also a response of the mind. The body goes where the mind goes. And so as we get into marriage, this fullness of experience, if someone has a selfish attitude, comes in with this lustful, it's just about me, we'll quickly find that as a spouse gets those messages, and that's what happens in the relationship, well, what's going to happen for their psychological arousal, right? What's happening in their brains when it comes to the physical intimacy? Well, it's going to diminish. What's going to happen then to their physical arousal? It's going to diminish. And so we start to see even our bodies, since the sexual response is in our brains as well as our bodies, reflect the whole doctrine of the soul. It is the body and the spirit. If the spirit is not attended to, if the spirit is not nurtured, if that emotional, relational part is not there, in time, we'll start to see the physical diminish as well. And so we set ourselves up that ultimately we'll lose everything with that kind of approach. That's why that physical idea of teaching kind of an abstinence approach, that this is just about abstaining until you get married, is so insufficient. Because we're not just trying to help people enter marriage pure, they need to enter prepared. And that's emotionally and relationally prepared too. So then as they foster that whole part of the relationship, then as you attend to the emotional, then the psychological arousal is high, then the physical arousal will be high, and you then have the richest, most rewarding, most pleasurable and stimulating sexual experience because of your attention to the emotional and the relational. And so that's where if our young people don't see that full view of chastity, of a condition of the spirit, not just an action of the body, we really have them set up in ways that they're not prepared for the intimacies of marriage. And then, unfortunately, those of us in the counseling circles, this is where some of our young people and our young couples and even some of our not so young couples start to have this as the stumbling block part of their marriage.